DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective. Your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
Draft heads, what is happening? Welcome back to the Key Pass Collective. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Williams. I'll be your host here for this particular episode. In case you need a reminder, the Key Pass Collective is the audio companion to the Draft Society website. Head on over to the Draft Society. We've got your ranks, your stats, your articles. We've got everything that you need to dominate the Premier League Draft Fantasy Football game. And if you're willing to part with a couple bucks a month, we can get you insider benefits. We're talking player projections, rest of season rankings, ghost point tracker articles focusing just solely on ghost points. We've got personalized trade advice. We've got set piece taker trackers. There's a whole wealth of stuff on there just for subscribers. And you are also supporting an independent fantasy football website. So we would really appreciate it. Think about it. If not, there's a ton of free stuff on there. Stats that you can sort, key stats that we're going to be talking about today that really kind of help you to distinguish a player's true value, just aside from looking at their fantasy points. So head on over, Draft Society. We've worked hard on it, and we're pretty proud of it. So thanks for the support. For those who already do support us, we really appreciate it. Okay, today we just wrapped up an interesting double game week for quite a few teams. And we're going to kind of talk a little bit about rest of season player values, but through the lens of trades. So we're going to have a bit of a trade extravaganza. We got some listener questions. Those of you who posed us questions about trades that you're considering or that you've been offered or potentially that you're, potentially kind of sending out or testing the waters, how you want to put it. And we'll talk through those and talk through some other players and their perceived trade value today. And then we'll close it out with some game week 26 streamers. So that's really about it. Let's welcome in Ryan. Of course, Toddy is still traveling. So Ryan, have you been, like I have, sort of living vicariously through Toddy's travels?
I have. I can't look at another elephant picture without weeping. No, I'm happy for him. Seems to be having a great old time over there, and yeah, good for him. Deserves it. So
cool. Yeah, I can't believe they took their two small kids though.
I know. More power to them. I can't imagine doing a long flight with children. It's bad enough on your own. So yeah, the fact that they can do it and choose to take their kids on adventures is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. But Todd will be back with us in just over a week or so. So we'll welcome him back and hope he's not too jet lagged from the whole thing. But hey, even if he is, he deserves it. So okay, let's chat, Ryan, about some developments here. Unfortunately, I need to bring to the audience's attention. I know you're already well aware that Spurs and Southampton will have a match in game week 28. Meaning that they no longer blank, which is unfortunate for you, huh?
Yeah, I just happen to be facing Harry Kane, Ben Davies, and Kulusevski in game week 28. And this is the day after Brentford were confirmed to play that week as well, in which I'm facing Mbomo, Jensen, and Raya. So I'll be facing a full 11. I might be the only person on earth that is going to be facing a full 11 in the blank game week. That's my cross to bear.
Oh, thanks for doing it though. The rest of us appreciate you taking that on.
Yeah, dying for all of your sins.
The world's sins.
Yeah.
So listeners, we've got then Brighton, Liverpool, United of the Manchester variety, West Ham, Fulham, and Manchester City, who then are confirmed blanks for game week 28. So just kind of to start thinking and planning ahead. Those are the updates from this week's cup matches or cup fixtures. And of course, Tottenham and Southampton really covered themselves in glory on that one. So,
oh god, I don't know which one's worse.
You have to have enjoyed that, though.
It's it's a problem with this fantasy game. Like it forced me to. I was like, okay, well, Southampton will take care of Grimsby. That'll free me up to cheer for Sheffield. And certainly they both can't lose, but that's where it was. But that's the silver lining. But not like I was afraid of Spurs coming anywhere near a trophy anyways. So I could have allowed them to go in another round, but they just couldn't do it.
Oh man, there are several really quality Venn diagrams floating around Twitter. One of which I'll include under the tweet for this episode, but just really visually to kind of help you plan for which players are going to be having doubles, which players are playing every week, which players are blanking, and it's very helpful. And I'll include that below the tweet. So check that out, listeners, if you want a little visual aid in planning for the next few weeks. But okay, let's talk some trades here. So we asked listeners, well, I guess they weren't listeners yet. They probably have listened previously, but at the time they were just Twitter followers. But we asked them on Twitter if they would give us some potential trade conundrums or questions. And we got some good responses. And so we'll go through as many of these as we possibly can. We could probably get through all of them. And we'll talk through them, Ryan, and just see if my valuation, your valuation of these players lines up. Because that, of course, is the rub in trades, right? Is player valuation and how you value them versus somebody else. So I'm curious to see which ones you would do, which ones you wouldn't do, and if we differ on any of these. So starting with our good friend, and I mean good friend, we need to hang out sometime, Hazardous. FPL Hazardous. Yeah, best friend. FPL Hazardous. Follow him if you don't. He asks, Hamed Traore plus Almiron for TAA.
Ooh. I like the Traore and Almiron.
We already differ.
All right, let me make my case, and I'm acutely aware of Trent because I roster him.
I know you are. Yeah,
he can be, and he's had two rare clean sheets on the trot, but I don't see that continuing. But the case to be made for the former duo is based on that Venn diagram and the schedule that you referenced earlier. Not to mention that Traore is dropping double-digit ghosts basically since he hit the shores of Blighty. And then you add in the fact that Almiron has a double. I don't like Almiron that much because, as we've talked about ad nauseum, he's very goal dependent and streaky, and that well is seemed to dry up. But he's a nice little bonus given the extra fixtures that Newcastle have, and I think they double in 29, and they play in the blank game week 28. So
against
those
Forest,
factors,
no less.
Yeah, those factors combined lean me towards Traore and Almiron.
Interesting. Okay. I take your point on Liverpool. The schedule is not amazing. So United, Bournemouth, which, okay, you like that. But then you've got the blank in 28, City and Chelsea for the double in 29, which is not ideal, but I mean, really, is anyone scared of Chelsea nice right now? Yeah. But then it's Arsenal. And then you've got a nice run of Leeds, Forest, West Ham, and then a double, I think, potential double, according to Ben Crellin, potential double of Spurs and Fulham. So it's mid, we'll say, as my students say, it's mid. But I just purely based on what I saw tonight with Konate and VVD in the side, I'm willing to get back on Liverpool defenders. Not like ride or die. I'm not set and forget yet, but I'm willing to start them with semi-confidence. Now against United this weekend, I don't know. I don't know that I would do that. But going forward after that, I'm pretty comfortable with Liverpool defenders. And I think they're going to have something to play for. I think they're going to have fire in their bellies again. And Trent has been scoring well. I know he's had his clean sheets, but he's been ghosting as well on top of that.
Yeah. I've made my case. I can't.
Yeah. No, you're fine. I mean, you can always, you can retort. You can have a rebuttal.
Well, allow me to retort. Yeah, I just think the schedule and his unpredictability. I mean, yeah, that run at the end is nice, but you got to get through this gauntlet. And while you're getting through that gauntlet, Traore's basically playing at least one game every game week, as well as Almiron. So, yeah. I mean the other bonus for the Trent side, and I'm always in favor of the 2-for-1 trades, is the extra roster spot, which is very handy, especially in these treacherous waters in which you have to chop and change for blank game weeks and double game weeks. So that is a point in that favor. But yeah, the counter obviously is those two, Traore and Almiron, are going to be playing, and they're set and forget for the next few weeks.
I mean, are they? Is Miguel Almiron set and forget?
Depending on your midfield, and certainly in the blank game week and the double.
And this was my point, kind of in taking the other side, is I agree with you completely on Traore, 100%. Almiron for me, and he's going to be mentioned in a couple trades here. I'm basically on the other side of any trade involving Almiron.
I mean, my first inclination was like, yeah, I mean, I like the foundation of this, but let's try and get someone better than Almiron.
Yeah, exactly.
But the only reason that I'm okay with him being included in this is the schedule. But after that, I'd be more than happy to trade him out or even drop him.
Okay, let's see. If I told you that this was Hamid Traore... Actually, no, because you're already on this side. What would it take for me to accept this? Hamid Traore plus, God, I don't know. Give me an Almiron alternative.
What about somebody like Estupinian? It has a good schedule and has been playing well. But is a defender that's kind of under the radar.
That is very close. Yeah, I'm probably doing that. Yeah, I'm probably doing that. And I'm liking Traore a lot. I agree with you. I think he's put him in the spot and just leave him till the end of the season at this point.
Yeah, it sucks because I had him, and then I didn't like the schedule, and I ended up picking.
I dropped him too.
Up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I'm playing against him this week, and God knows.
Yep.
God knows.
That's how it goes. Yeah, same here. All right. So we're split on that one, kind of. I mean, I can see honestly both sides on that one. I really don't like the Almiron side. This one we have to, especially after today, we have to agree on this one, right? Hazardous follows it up and he said, if you haven't recorded already, here's another. Havertz plus Almiron for Salah.
So two open spots for Salah. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm taking Salah there.
Yeah, 100%. He also said manager receiving Havertz already rosters Reece James, Badiashile, Koulibaly, Mudryk, Ziyech, Madueke.
He's going to have a good blank game week there.
Yeah.
Chelsea are playing in 28.
Yeah.
I probably would play that guy in 28 too.
Right. Yeah. Right. That one's not particularly close, my friend. I hope I hope you're getting the Salah side of that one.
I would assume so. He's a pretty savvy guy. I don't think he's rostering that Chelsea albatross.
All right. So let's move on and away from Miguel Marone for a minute. Tom Husband at Fireworm21. Awesome name. Solid.
Both.
Yeah, exactly.
His Christian name and his handle.
His moniker.
Yeah.
He said, so you guys often talk about 2-for-1 trades. When would you accept giving up one of your elite players for multiple lesser ones?
This is an excellent question.
It's a great question.
Very existential question. Man, I had a pretty good segue into that because I was just talking about how I like in favor of the 2-for-1 trades. But that was one that I actually leaned towards the 2 side of the equation.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean the boring, obvious answer is when the 2 together are a fair amount better than the 1 on offer.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes, if it's equal to, then no, I'm taking the 1 and extra slot all day. But if there's even a bit of a bonus on the 2 side, then I'm taking that. But I do love me a 2-for-1 trade, and especially in times like this, getting rid of 2 and opening up that 1 slot and upgrading is just, it's the dream.
I mean, and it also depends what you mean by your elite players, right? Like there are certain elite players who are, they're elite when you look at the, quote unquote leaderboard or the points list for the season, but you would still consider trading them out. And then there are elite players that you're not even really going to think about. Like at the moment, you couldn't give me an offer that I would part with Bukayo Saka, Erling Haaland, Marcus Rashford, Trippier, De Bruyne is close. But yeah, I mean, there's elite and then there's absolute like monsters.
Yeah, it would have to be like 2 top 15 players with amazing schedules.
Yeah,
that would get me going for one of my elite top 10 guys. But
you don't roster Haaland anywhere, right?
No.
Okay. If let's pretend somebody were to offer you Saka and Ben Mee, who's 24th overall.
Oh man.
24th overall, and Brentford is the only team that has all of the doubles and plays every single week.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And Mee has been low-key top 5 defender, as I think you mentioned.
And you love Saka.
Oh, God. Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, so there you go. That's an example. Saka's on 364 total if you're using Fantrax default scoring, and Haaland's on 405.5.
Yeah, that gap that you mentioned is more than made up by the fact that Mee has such a dream schedule.
Yeah.
Because he's going to get you through the next few weeks nicely. And Arsenal's schedule is primo, other than not having another double for a while, but the actual schedule, like the difficulty of it, there's a good stretch coming up, Bournemouth and some other softies
for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Fulham, Palace, Leeds, Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton, and then it gets a little bit tougher with City, Chelsea.
Yeah, in April it turns a bit, but before then it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. So there you go, Tom. Hope that helped. All right, everyone's favorite Draft Tash. Actually, friend of the pod was on the podcast. Draft Tash.
Well, he was part of that contest, right?
Yes, he was. The trivia. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
God, we had such a mixture of the British Isles there.
Oh, that was a blast.
Van Delda.
That was an absolute blast.
Wales, Scotland, and
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Draft
Flay
Tash
was on there too. Yeah.
Yep. FF Flay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Draft Tash is asking, I'm trying to get Tony from a fellow manager. He posted this a couple days ago, which is actually hilarious because he posted this. It was a day and a half ago, and it was last night that all the information came out about Tony. So I'm thinking that he probably wants us to go ahead and just forget this.
Nope. He asked us the question. It must be answered.
All right. All right.
Prior Tony to that news, I would have said, yeah, you're going to have to offer more than Son. Because Son has been garbage and he can't even start anymore. He's behind a striker that hasn't scored a goal in the league yet this season. So yeah, prior to that news, you would have had to add quite a sweetener, especially with the schedule. But now, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see when the ban hits and how long it is, and if in anticipation of that ban, now that he's basically admitted guilt, if Brentford feels some sort of pressure to bench him already just for posterity's sake. But yeah, either way, his days are numbered, and I don't think you can really get much for him. So yeah, I would pull that one back.
I mean, or even to get some other players some experience. You know, earlier today we were talking and you brought up why do I always blank on his name?
Shada?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Shada. And I mean, now seems to be the perfect time.
I mean, you knew this was coming in. Like, why don't you start to like bet him in a little bit, give him a few cameos? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm so bitter from the Damsgaard debacle that I just don't get Frank sometimes. But he's obviously working wonders with them. So
he really is. But yeah. But it's just hard when we know better than him, and
I know.
Like, it's like I don't have any way to communicate that to Frank. It's like
listen to us.
Yeah, I can post it on Twitter, but he doesn't appear to see my tweets. I guess I don't know. It's whatever.
Yeah, he's a stubborn man. But
truly,
maybe this will force him into some humility.
Yeah. Anyway, Draft Hash, I hope you didn't do that trade yet.
Yeah, I was actually having looked at all of those Venn diagrams, looking to get Tony in, and I made a pretty decent, I thought, opening offer, and it was declined yesterday. And then all that came out, and I was like, "Oh, thank God, I dodged a freaking bullet there." And thankfully, it was declined, and I didn't like leave it out there for someone to pounce once that news came about. So. Yeah, that would have been rough. So I'm sure there was a few that probably got caught there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Oof.
Yeah. All right. Okay. FP Elements asking, can you touch on some trade deadline thoughts? If there should be one, when and why? That's really interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think more leagues should have them. If you don't already, I think it's definitely necessary. But
I think so too. Other than leagues where everybody is above board and everybody knows each other and they know not to fuck about. But those leagues are few and far between. So I think for most leagues there probably should be one. And I think timing wise, it should probably be. Probably right around like the low 30s game week, where you're starting to hit the really the home stretch, and people are resigned to their fate or are pushing for the title. Those two combinations can be pretty tricky. And they're willing to give away the farm because they just don't care, and maybe they'll help their buddy out who's in the title race. And so that's around the time I think in the season where people start to realize they're stuck in a particular spot, or that they're close to winning and will do anything to keep that going. So I would say anywhere between like game week 30 and 34. It'd probably be a good time.
Yeah. Why not just say like 30? Like just say give it the nice round number of 30, and you've literally played 30 weeks of fantasy football, and why not at that point? You're coming down to the title race. Maybe you have playoffs if you're American, or maybe you're just playing based upon a table. But whatever it is, these are the most important weeks of the season, and you don't want to open it up for anybody to be able to pull some funny business. Tell a buddy that like, hey, I'll give you a quarter of the winnings if you do this or whatever. And yeah, it's just I don't like it. And then other leagues, if you set it where the league votes on whether or not to allow a trade, which I don't like in the first place. But
I don't like that either.
Yeah, but if you do that and it is technically a fair trade, the league still could potentially decline what is an actually fair trade just because they don't want to see somebody on one side of the trade succeed. So I mean, it's just, I think it's a lose-lose all around. There's no reason to keep allowing trades, because it just ends up, people think people have ulterior motives, and it just gets a little bit sketchy toward the end. I like 30, but I hear you with 30 to 34.
Yeah, 30's a good one. But yeah, I could be persuaded to let it go a little bit longer. But yeah, anytime after 30.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we have Fantrax EG at Fantrax EG. He's asking Matoma for Reece James. What side of that do you like?
I like Matoma for a number of reasons.
I'm with you.
One, he's such a cool dude. I mean, anybody that writes their thesis on dribbling is my hero. 2, he's fun to watch. 3, he's scoring better. They have 2 doubles coming up. Reece James, I mean, in addition to him very much in contention to fall apart injury-wise again before the season's end, he just looks out of sorts in a back four. He's not really scoring that well. The good part about him and Chelsea is the schedule. As you mentioned, I don't think they blank again.
No, they don't.
But I'd trade that for the doubles with Matoma, who looked great again midweek in the cup. So Matoma for me.
I'm with you. And are you aware of Brighton's doubles?
Yep. That's what I'm saying. They double twice in the next.
Do you know who they're
27 and 29?
Yeah.
Not off the top of my head.
It's Leeds and Palace in 27, and it's Brentford and Bournemouth in 29.
Oh yeah, give it to me.
It's juicy.
A Tony-less
juicy
Brentford as well.
Yeah. And Chelsea doesn't have a bad schedule, but yeah, like you said, I just think the whole team looks unsettled at the moment. But yeah, I don't know that this is going to be Reece James' year. I just think it's going to take some settling in for the whole team.
If Potter reverts to a back 3 and actually uses his wing backs, that could change things. But or if he gets canned and somebody else comes in and does that. But yeah, as currently constructed, it's going to be Matoma all day. Yeah.
It should be noted that Brighton does blank in that 28. But I mean, the fixtures around that are so juicy. Yeah, exactly. So, and according to Krellin, they have an unlikely double in game week 30, but
oh god, so it could be
even the possibility.
30.
Yeah, even the possibility. Mouth-watering. Okay, cool. So we're in line on that one. Sounds good. Okay, Frog Taga at Frog Taga. We're back to Hamid Traore. So Hamid Traore and Robertson for Morgan Gibbs-White and Chilwell.
Ooh. Oh, man. That is really close. Traore and MGW are very similar.
Yeah.
The set piece playmakers of really bad squads.
Yep.
Both have good schedules. So they're pretty even for me. So then it comes down to Rabo v Chile. And man, I guess I would give Traore and Rabo by a smidge.
Mm-hmm. With you. Yep.
But that's
like
close.
It is. Yeah, we talked about Liverpool. You know, they don't have, of all these teams that we were talking about with these Venn diagrams and whatnot, they don't have the best run in. But I just think the scoring potential is much higher for Robertson, especially if they're going to find even a little bit of form. Tsimikas came in and did really, really well today. And so I think he's going to have, hopefully, a fire under his ass to get out there and actually perform. So it does, of course, bring the risk of rotation. But Chilwell has that as well. So, I mean, you know.
Yeah, and what I mentioned in terms of the back four screws Chilwell as well. Yeah, he's looked bad. Other than that brief cameo when he came in, they were chasing the game, I think, against Southampton. But otherwise, yeah, him and Reese have been off.
Oh, and you know what we didn't mention? Fulham blanks in 28 and they have no doubles at all.
Fulham?
Oh, sorry. Forest. Let me look at Forest. No, they have a double in 29. Sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Pereira in my mind. I don't know why. I see them as kind of the same player, honestly. He and Gibbs White, just in their roles on their teams, and the team, the teams are both kind of like meh in terms of fantasy output. Fulham's much better, but still.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. All right. So yes, we agree. Traore, Robertson. I think I like that one better. Barely, but yeah. Plus, I mean, just almost. I don't know. What do you think, Ryan? Anything to get rid of most Chelsea assets at this point? Are you there or not quite?
Not quite. The schedule makes you want to hold on. Plus the fact that there's nowhere to go but up, and something's got to give with Potter. Either he reverts to a back three and or turns it around, or he gets canned and they get a new manager bump. So I think you'd be selling at rock bottom prices right now, and those two reasons are pretty good to stay the course, at least for a little bit. But yeah, they're not scoring goals, and if this continues, then what's the point?
Yeah, that's a good point about their value being so low at the moment.
I'm not trying to trade in the middling guys that get rotated, like the Maduekes or
no
Mudryks or any of those guys, but for the Chile, James, Sterling, João Felix types, yeah, I think holding's probably the best bet.
Yeah, I'm still pretty skeptical on Sterling. João Felix, I'm on the record as supporting him, and I think he's going to be a good asset. But yeah, aside from that, I don't know. I'm not excited about almost any of these guys. Maybe Reece James.
Yeah, we'll see. They're going to be
only slightly
in case.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Moving on, we have NJ at NJope Draft. Sonny, Mitoma, and Chilwell for Jota, Saka, and Rabo. Sonny, Mitoma, Chilwell, Jota, Saka, Rabo. I can tell you my answer immediately, and it's give me any side that has Saka on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. Sonny might be the worst one in the entire six.
That's hilarious.
Chili's, yeah, like I said, just under Rabo. So yeah, it's unfortunate for Matoma to be on that side, but
I know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jota, Saka, Rabo all day.
Tell me about, how do you see Jota? How do you see him as an asset going forward? I'm trying to figure out if I have a niche view on this, or if the way that I'm kind of perceiving his fantasy value. Love him as a player, fantasy value rest of season. I'm kind of curious as to how you see him as an asset.
He's a tricky one. Historically, usually pretty goal dependent. Gets very streaky. Can go a couple games in a row, nicking braces left and right, and then has really low patches.
Hasn't scored for 11 months.
Yeah, he's finally back fit. I didn't see that game today. I was watching the dismantling of Sean Dyche. So I didn't see how he looked. Got an assist, right?
Yeah, got an assist. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, you gotta, if you picked him up after somebody dropped him for the long injury, you got to feel pretty hyped about that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good sign that he came in basically straight in to replace Gakpo.
But Gakpo had just played 6 or 7 games straight.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit worried about that.
Just what I was about to say. Yeah. If there's going to be rotation there, and what that all means. Yeah. Now that Nunez is fit too,
I know, and Diaz coming back.
Mm-hmm. So it might actually be a trade somewhat high, just because like he's back, he started, he got an assist. People are just going to assume that he cracks on and that he's a nailed on starter, where that might not be the case given all the reasons we just talked about. So yeah, I'd be very tempted to trade high on him.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Who I would take, that would be the issue. Yeah.
He won't do this trade now, but I can tell you that I offered Jota for the aforementioned performing well but under the radar Ben Mee.
Oh man.
And I don't know if that would have gone through. I canceled it after the game just because I was like, I kind of doubted myself a little bit. But thinking on it now in our conversation, I think I would do that. If you're good in your forward line, I think I would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would too, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm completely with you, and you basically just kind of confirmed the thought process I was having as I was thinking through his score and like him just fantasy wise. I'm so glad we have the depth again as a team, but fantasy wise, I see him as being really tumultuous to roster. I just think he's going to be, some weeks he's not going to start, some weeks he's going to get yanked at like maybe 60. I think it's just going to be really frustrating to roster him.
Yeah, I think that's right. And cashing in before those concerns are really confirmed in the next few game weeks is probably the best bet.
Yeah. All right. Julio Jaramillo or at JMoneyTaco. Incredible.
Beautiful.
Bravo, sir. You should be knighted. All right, at JMoneyTaco. And we sort of talked about this already. What should anyone realistically expect to get for Haaland?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be 2 top 15 players that are either really in form and or have fantastic schedules.
Yeah.
What did we settle on before Saka and Ben Mee?
Yep. Let's think of a couple more.
Like a Solly March and Rashford, maybe somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, anything that involves Rashford would tempt me at this point. If I were a Holling manager, I'd be tempted. It'd have to be somebody. God, I'm trying to think. Like, if somebody sent you like Rashford and I don't know, JWP, you wouldn't do that.
I'd be tempted.
I mean, this is the level we're talking about.
This close. Guy, it wouldn't immediately get me going, but it's close for sure.
I think he's asking because Holland has had a run of form that's actually been by his standards, pretty brutal. He had the week where he got 3, then he had 8, 14.5 with a goal. He got 1 against Forest in 90 minutes, which people were expecting, safe to say, a lot more. And then they had Bournemouth to follow it up. He played 71 and did score that goal. But yeah, I mean, he's been kind of brutal lately. And I think people are thinking about trying to go for someone more consistent, which is why I brought up Saka in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, Holland was never going to be consistent when he doesn't score goals. So, yeah, this is just what you paid for. But the upside is that he can drop a 30 spot any given game, which is hard to get, which you don't really get with anybody else.
Right. That's winning you a game week.
yeah, exactly. The war is out of control, but that can be offset by, again, 2 top 15 players that either double or play during the blank, or have a really good run of fixtures popped up. So yeah, those would be the only ones that would pass muster.
I think top 15 is good. I'd like how you said top 15. I think that's the perfect line, because when you get below that, then you're getting into this is so wild, like your Fabian Schär territory. You're getting into Mitrovic. You're getting into Almiron territory. Bowen, Watkins. That's just the difference between your elite fantasy assets this year and top 20. But the later half of the top 20, or the latter part of the top 20, are players where you kind of ask yourself, how is that guy in the top 20 this year?
Yeah, I know. Reading these is so funny. Seeing some of these guys, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, Rodri. Yep.
Unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Anyway, okay, so there's your answer. Hopefully that helps. Honestly, I mean, yeah. If anyone's gonna lowball you at all on that, then just decline and move along happily, because we've seen Pep has rotated basically everybody else except for Haaland. He is in love with Erling Haaland, and it's gonna be a story written in the stars, because I think, aside from injury, which he will have, but aside from injury, he's gonna start for the rest of his City career unless he needs a breather.
Yep. He's not locked in.
Yep. All right. Jake at Jake Mazinski. I can spell that for you if you want to follow him, Twitter users, but it reminds me of my days back in Wisconsin. I don't know if Jake's from Wisconsin, but it reminds me of being in Wisconsin. It's a little taste of home. At Jake MOCZYNSKI. Solid. All right. Is Iwobi a sell high? What do I do with Mount? What defenders are you targeting in a trade? This is close to your heart. Is Porro a drop or a hold?
Oh god.
First of all, I would never drop your Porro. You want to hold that thing.
Yeah.
And once it gets down really low, that's when you can have a roach clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about technique.
That's right. Let me digest.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Okay. Is Iwobi a sell high? Let's pull up Iwobi's numbers.
I don't think so, because he's as close to a steady Eddie as you can get. So I don't consider this really a high.
No.
I mean, it would have been a high. The only way it would have been a high is if you traded him out before the double. Because otherwise, yeah, what you see is what you get.
And don't you think public perception of him is still to the point where he's not perceived as being a fantasy asset that he is? And so
so people don't think he's inflated. They don't see him as a sell high.
You're almost just better off keeping that as kind of like an ace in the hole. Like you just sort of have him, and worst case scenario, he's on your bench and you pop him in. And most people don't have an Iwobi who can come in as their fifth midfielder, or their even their fourth midfielder.
Yeah. No, because I think that's right. I would hold. I don't think he's a sell high.
Okay, what are you doing with Mount?
Oh God. If you haven't tried to trade him to a Chelsea fan in your league yet, and I'm sure you have, if you've gone through the frustration that is rostering Mason Mount, then you're basically worried about keeping him or dropping him, and I think he's included in that conversation that we had about Chelsea in terms of nowhere to go but up. Either Potter turns it around or it's a new manager bump. So I think for now you just got to hold them. They play every game week from here on out. So because of that, and the other reasons, I think it's a hold. But I get your frustration.
Oh, it's barely a hold. I mean, it's as close to a last straw as you can possibly be without being a drop.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't blame you right now for dropping. And this is the situation we talk about quite a lot here, where you pull the pin and toss a grenade into the waiver wire, and you let people, whittle away their fab on players that are not going to come good. And this might just be one of them.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That might actually be the play. Although I would personally hold, I can see some merit in doing that. It depends. That would make sense if you have a little bit of fab and there's only a little bit else floating around.
Yeah.
To kind of draw that out and give you more of a monopoly, or at least close the gap. Because fab's going to be so important the next few weeks with the blanks and the doubles. You're going to be able to get a lot of these players just by bidding one because nobody else has fab left. So if that's the case, then that might actually be the play. But if not, I think I would hold.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay,
begrudgingly.
I like that. Yeah, nice. What defenders are you targeting in a trade?
Well, we talked about Ben Mee ad nauseum.
You guys heard about Ben Mee? He's been pretty good this year, it turns out.
Yeah, and they play 7 games a week for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So him.
So trade, we're assuming that they're rostered. We're not talking pickups here. Yeah. Okay.
To me, Estupiñán's numbers have been great, and those two doubles coming up. The only issue is he has a knock, but that might make him easier to trade in. It comes with a risk, but the fact that he has a red flag is probably goes in your favor if you're trying to trade him in. So he'd be another one that I'd target. Those would be big too.
Yeah, he's sort of not being talked about as much as he was a month or two ago, which is a good thing for you. I would probably try to target Diogo Dalot if it's me. I know you have a strict no United policy, but yeah, he's been fantastic, and United have a great run upcoming after Liverpool, Southampton, Newcastle, Brentford, Everton, Forest, and then I'll throw Chelsea in there too, just because sorry, Prosh, and also potentially Newcastle defenders. People maybe have soured on them a little bit with their recent
I've seen them traded out a few.
Yeah. Leagues. But they actually have a decent upcoming fixture list, and I have faith that they're going to turn things around a little bit, at least offensively. I think they'll become stalwart again.
Yeah, and they played the blank and double in 29, right?
Yeah, those are some ideas. Obviously, Ethan Pinnock. I cannot express my love for that man enough. So if I didn't have him in all of my leagues, I would go out and get him.
Oh God, dropped him after the own goal.
Unbelievable. Yeah. But yet you kept Joakim Anderson. He's been pretty good recently. I gotta say.
Yeah, I tried to pick him back up and didn't get him. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, no, that's a landmine. You don't want that. Okay, any other ones? What about Arsenal defenders? Any of them that you like?
Not really. I mean, the fact that they have a good schedule coming up is nice, but I don't think you'd be able to get them for what you would think. And I don't think people are going to trade him. So
yeah,
I don't think it'd be a good proposition. So I probably wouldn't try. Because none of them really score that well on their own. But people I think they overvalue them.
Yeah.
Because they're on the league leading side. But yeah, none of them really ghost enough to withstand lack of a clean sheet. And yeah, like I said, the schedule is great, so they should do well in the next few weeks. But
yeah, that's a good point.
Again, I don't think that
it's always a gamble, right?
For what you would want, yeah.
Okay, the last ones I'll mention, still sort of undervalued for what they actually contribute. If you look at their numbers on a week-to-week basis, upcoming fixtures would include Wolves, Forest, Southampton, Everton, Brighton, Bournemouth. Talking of Tottenham here. And players like Dyer and Davies have quietly been top 15 defenders.
Yeah, I'm glad you flagged that because I included Davies in Ghost Boys Hunters this week, and yeah, he's one that I should have said for trade targets. Yeah, I think
don't worry about it. I forgive you.
A good one. No, thanks, Joe. That's why we're a good team. You know, pick up my slack when I'm off.
And this is a great segue. Joint man himself, Porro, are you dropping or holding?
Holding. I might be in a position to drop if things get sticky. Game week 28, and I really need a body, and he doesn't start in the blank now that they're freaking playing. But yeah, it's tough.
This is exactly the Luke Shaw situation. That's precisely what's going on here. Royale found out that there was someone coming to get him and just remembered how to play football, or maybe learned for the first time.
Yeah, and it's like, man, you'd think at some point they're going to rotate, but not if he keeps playing this well. And yeah, you could try and trade him to the Royale rosterer, but
yeah,
they're not going to give you what you want.
No.
For the fab that you clearly invested in to get him. So I think it's a hold for a little bit longer and see what happens. But unless you can get something that you think is fair value from the Royale guy, or you try to trade in Royale and use the cuff for this next run of fixtures.
Sure.
But those negotiations are so tricky because everybody overvalues their hand.
Oh man, I was just gonna say who started there today. It was Porro.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh Lord. That's not good.
Doing himself any favors, yeah.
Nope. All right. I don't know, man. I don't have him in any leagues. I might drop him, honestly. I mean, if I'm close to dropping players like Podence and players like Sinistera. Like, why would I not drop somebody like Porro?
Yeah, it's sunk cost at this point, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, hope always springs eternal, given the position and a wingback focused team and those run of fixtures. But yeah, I'd hold if you can, but if you get jammed up and you have to drop them, then it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Ah, man. All right. That's a tough one, honestly. That I feel for people who spent fab on him or who spent a high waiver priority on him. Everything was there. It was all, the story was there to be written, and
he should be getting those points that Royale's getting right now.
Yeah. But don't forget, Conte's been away from this team. And so, never underestimate Royale's ability to get under his skin and just upset him by seemingly doing anything at all. So
I don't know if Conte is going to come back at this point.
You don't think so?
I mean, I know he's recovering. Literally, I haven't heard any timeline of him coming back to actually be with the squad. So it could be a while.
Is this like an Irish goodbye type of thing? Like
me in college just get so hammered at the bars that I don't actually tell people I'm leaving.
Yeah, precisely. Interesting.
That would be fantastic.
Just never heard from him again.
No.
Last we knew, he was with his family. I don't know.
Bertram.
Yeah. Oh man. All right.
Really into the 60s.
Yeah. All right. Richard Hobbs at Filipino Mowgli.
We have the best listeners.
100%. Okay.
I don't know how Filipino Mowgli matches up with Richard Hobbs.
Hobbs.
The J Money Taco one matched up.
Yeah.
Because it was Javier. So the J worked out. But yeah, Richard Hobbs and Filipino Mowgli, I just don't get it.
I really don't know either. But I'd be here for the backstory if you ever want to share
the origin story.
All right, 2 weeks ago, I traded away Grealish for Felix. Now with Chelsea abysmal and Grealish seemingly nailed, have I made a horrible error? Will Felix come good, and will Grealish succumb to Pep Roulette once more?
I feel your pain on this one. I don't think it's as dire as it may seem right now. I think what you said, there's a decent chance of that happening. I think Felix has been the lone bright spot in this horrible team. He did get goal of the month, albeit it was the only goal that they scored in the month of February. But yeah, I think he will. I think he will revert back to those scores in the first few game weeks. And yeah, I think with Champions League and all of they're still in the FA Cup as well. I think that fixture pile up will see Grealish rotate a bit more than he has been. Although you talked about Haaland, I think, man, Pep is in love with Grealish as well. So,
oh yeah,
but I think he will rotate a bit more, and it'll even out in the next few weeks. So, yeah, I wouldn't feel too bad about it. I think that one will even out a bit.
City's fixtures, we haven't really talked about them. City have some decently friendly ones, I suppose, although they do blank and they sort of lack a lot of the doubles that other teams have. So they've got Liverpool, Southampton, blank, Newcastle. Oh no, sorry. I was reading Newcastle. My bad. Let me move up one. Newcastle, Crystal Palace, blank. So decent start. Liverpool, Southampton, Leicester. And that brings us up to 31. So yeah, I mean, it's solid. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I would rather. That's hard.
At least Felix is nailed on.
Yeah,
you don't have to get any cover, and they play more fixtures. They don't blank.
I kind of feel like Grealish is nailed at this point.
I think he is when available, but
sure.
I mean, with
Champions League and yeah, Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, there's the possibility that he'll be used, in a game that has more gravity to it, and then potentially rested at least for the first 60.
Yeah,
that's tough. That's a tough one. I guess I don't know. I'm honestly split on this one. I can't. I really can't. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
The good news is I would like either player. I think I wouldn't mind rostering either player right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. Magnus Goodmanson. He's asking, keep Benrahma or get Mudryk?
Keep Benrahma.
Yeah, same. Although, what do you make of Moyes just not playing him sometimes, just inexplicably?
I don't know. I think it might just be like a personality thing, because you can see that they desperately need goals, and he's, he can be frustrating, but he's such a good creative outlet and just passes the eye test whenever you see him play. So that's the only thing that I could think of. But yeah, fantasy wise, he almost always does a job. He played well in that last matchup versus Forest, which was a huge game for them. So you got to think that he'll stick with the hot hand. So yeah, I would keep Benrahma. And Mudryk, I mean, you can't really say what I just said about Felix for Mudryk. Hasn't been nailed on, and we haven't seen anything that would lead us to believe that he scores well. He's a meh dribbler that gets dispossessed quite a bit, and we haven't seen any end product yet. So yeah, I would keep Benrahma there.
Yep, I'm with you. Yeah, Mudryk. I mean, yeah, Benrahma is a rotation risk. Mudryk is maybe even more. And like you said, Benrahma had the 2 assists against Forest, and then scored as well today against United. So yeah, I think you said it best, hot hand. I think hopefully he's going to be in this team for a couple weeks until he does something to piss off Moyes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, cool. So yeah, keep. Okay. Oh man. This one's from Mani Mar at MoonMar82. Should I accept Odegaard for Mitoma?
Oh man.
This might surprise you as much as I bitch about him, but I would keep Odegaard, or I would take Odegaard. Whatever it takes for you to get or keep Odegaard, I would do that.
Yeah, I would too, but it's closer than I'd like. It
is.
I'd like to admit.
I mean, it's closer than, imagine us having this conversation 4 months ago. Like the absolutely ridiculous. Mitoma and what he's done in such a short time.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, he was definitely my pickup of the season. Yeah. There haven't really been many other just random people that have been available on the waiver wire mid-season that have just become such great assets.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Odegaard's still the king there.
I agree. Yeah, and Odegaard,
unless you have really must-win matchups in 27 and 29 where they double, then I would be tempted to forego the slight disparity on a week-to-week basis.
What I will say for Mitoma is that he's got a better baseline than Odegaard, because Odegaard, as you've heard me complain to you, Odegaard can be pretty attacking return dependent sometimes, and there are games where he'll ghost out. He'll have key passes galore, but then there are games where he just disappears.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he'll have those games where the first 60 minutes, it's he threads some great through balls. They just don't get on the end of them, so he doesn't get any points for it. And then they're chasing the game 20 minutes out, and he just drops 15 ghosts in that period.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely up and down. But yeah, overall, I think he's probably 14 points per start. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. He's 7th overall in total points.
Is that right now?
Oof. Yeah.
Man.
7th overall, just behind. This will kill you, Bruno Fernandes. Give him time. He's only 3 away.
Time's coming. God. I just looked at my game week 28 opponent. Has, let's see here, 15 players to pull from. I think he's only missing 2 of his players blank that week.
That's.
Can you believe that?
That is insane.
I mean,
wow.
Just can't make it up.
That is wild. Yeah, for comparison, let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players who are postponed on that game week. So yeah, that's pretty insane.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's why I wanted that get him docked. And his best 3 players are Spurs. And that's just completely sinks that fucking game week.
I'll probably be in the same situation. That's tends to happen to us. We play the same player in the same game week, and they just go off.
Unbelievable.
No. All right, so we're keeping Odegaard over Matoma, but it's close, which says a lot, which is actually awesome. So,
totally.
Again, that's one of the situations. Would love to roster either one, but if I got to pick one, I guess I'm going Odegaard barely.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question, and then we'll wrap it up with some streamers. Greg King at I'm the GD King.
Now that makes sense. That matches up to the name.
Incredible. I am the GD King. It kind of reminds me of CMFD.
I wonder if it's a play on his initials as well. I wonder if his middle name is like Dennis or something.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, Greg Dennis King. Or is his last name actually not King, and it's just like he's calling himself the King?
I hope it's.
I think he's Greg King. I think that's his name.
Yeah, I think it's.
But then
Greg
the middle
Dennis
name.
King.
Yeah, the middle name is hopefully something cool like Deacon.
Deacon Jones.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Anyway, I'm the GD King. Last week I traded Watkins and McNeil for Martinelli. Am I dumb?
I mean, you aren't based on that DGW haul. That
he posted this. He posted this before the game today, obviously.
But actually, Watkins plus the McNeil haul probably superseded Martinelli, despite him scoring 3 goals. That'll be close. Actually, I like the Watkins McNeil side of that, but you're not dumb.
No,
I mean, I think Watkins has been playing really well, but he's scored 5 goals in 5, so I think that that run is going to end hopefully soon because I play him this week. It's definitely not.
So it's going to go one more week at least.
Yeah. I want to trade high after this week. And yeah, McNeil's just getting garbage points, but yeah, it's not terrible. Especially now that Martinelli seems like he's got his mojo back. Yeah. I mean, I prefer Watkins McNeil, but it's not. The disparity is not that great.
Interesting. So you would actually prefer the Watkins McNeil side?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh man, Martinelli can be a little bit goal dependent, right? A little bit dependent on attacking returns.
And before these past 2 games, again, I played against him this week, so no surprise there.
Yeah,
he ended his goal drought to get a hat trick over the DGW. But before that, he was really on a cold spell, and then got dropped for Trossard. So that was a low point. But yeah, now he seems to be back, and of course they have relegated Eddie to the bench. So he should be good for the foreseeable future. And yeah, they got Bournemouth at home this weekend, so we'll see if he can beat Watkins and McNeil.
I mean, I'm tempted to just take the better player on the better team
and get the roster spot. Yeah. I mean, it's not a big gap.
It's really close. It's really close. And you alluded to this. Yeah. you alluded to this, but I mean, don't underestimate Watkins' ability to go on a really, really bad run of form for multiple game weeks at a time, and just really kind of disappear for your fantasy team. And he's done that countless times.
Yeah,
so
very streaky.
Anyway, no, you're not dumb, but it's a very, very close trade. You might barely be on the losing end of that if there is such a thing. But do something amazing with your open roster spot. Go and pick up somebody cool. There you go.
Maybe they're silk. Maybe it's something cool that I don't even know about.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's immediately what I thought about when you said that. Pick up somebody cool.
It's a good reference. We haven't had many movie references since that one week we went off the rails.
Yeah. I thought we were in the trust tree, are we not?
Right. All right. Game week 26 streamers. Hit us with a couple of names, Ryan, and then we'll close her down.
I like Leeds defenders this weekend. Play against Chelsea. We've talked about the fact that they haven't scored many goals. Plus, most of the Leeds defenders actually ghost pretty well. Fear Pro's the most in form, given that he got the goal and dropped a 28 spot this weekend. So he's kind of the best one to get this week. But Vober will do a job for you, as well as either Cook or Cooper. So I like streaming those guys this weekend. Plus, you can keep them for the blank game week they start for that one. So I like those guys. Everybody's going to be talking about Manor Solomon.
Yep.
The fact that he's just keeps scoring goals off the bench. Will he get a start? He's going to be a tricky one to roster this week because they're the last game of the game week. So if you do pick him up, do not rely on him to start. Have some cover. Just make sure you don't get jammed up. Having said that, the fact that he's come on from the bench and scored, it's not the end of the world if you do start him from the bench. But just be wary of that.
He's a lottery ticket, right, this week. I mean, if you're picking him up in hopes that you can stash him and that he'll really catch fire going forward.
Yep, he'll do a mini Matoma. Parlay those off the bench performances into a regular starting role and then crack on from there.
Exactly.
I mean, that's very lofty hopes. Very unlikely that he does that, but that's kind of the trajectory that you're looking for there.
Yeah, I like it. Any other ones?
There's a big one. So you got?
Let's see. I think people are going to be clamoring to pick up Brentford assets just because of the run they have and the fact that they have the 2 doubles plus they don't blank in 28. They
don't have any. There's nobody really on the wire that really appeals, right?
Would you risk Johan Wissa?
No.
Yeah, he can be so hit or miss. I mean, he's pretty goal dependent. But if you think that there might be goals in those matchups upcoming, the ones that involve Fulham, Everton, Southampton, Leicester, Brighton United. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, okay, let's look at roster. Let's look at rostership. All right, so like a player like Matthias Jensen is 66% rostered. Right? Like he's an 8 point per game player. You got to go pick him up.
Yeah. I just don't think he's going to be on many wires.
No, probably not of listeners to this show, but like Norgard, 64%. Players like that, go for it. For the double, you can make a case for somebody like a Rico Henry, although it's always pins and needles when you start him. But yeah, aside from that, your Pinucks are going to be rostered. Your Rayas, your Mees, obviously going to be rostered. Who do you think anybody comes in and does bits in the wake of Tony?
Yeah, I mean we touched on it earlier. The only one that pops out would be the Sade.
So maybe you stash him.
Maybe, but I mean, roster spots are so clutch right now. I just don't know if I want to, until you get some sort of inkling that he might, like if he gets a decent cameo or you see him on the team sheet, then definitely swoop him. But yeah, he's a lottery ticket at this point until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I would say also that I've seen a lot of Brighton players be dropped over the last couple of weeks because they've had real tough matchups, and we've talked about their fixture list, a lot. And so I think looking into some of those players, Evan Ferguson's been dropped in a lot of leagues. Maybe go pick him up. Just random Brighton players that can do a fair amount in terms of a baseline for your fantasy team. Those are the guys I would check in on, because Leeds and Crystal Palace, Brentford, Bournemouth, and 2 doubles is a dream. So yeah, that's something to look into. As far as this week in particular, let's see. Arsenal have Bournemouth. You're not going to have many defenders there, or so you're not going to have many. You're not going to have many streamers there, except for maybe a defender here and there in a league that has been dropped. How do you feel about Villa against Crystal Palace?
On paper, that should be a good one for Villa, but Palace are weird.
They're so weird.
Yeah, they can pop up and do a job in the most random of circumstances. For some reason, I feel like that's going to happen this weekend because everything points to Villa winning comfortably, but yeah, I think Palace might actually show up. Maybe Zaha comes back. I'm not sure. But yeah, getting a jump on folks picking up Palace for the double in 27, like a Jordan Ayew, who's ghosted 11 points back-to-back weeks. Getting him for the double and starting him against Villa wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Yeah.
Finally, I will say, and again, I know this doesn't apply to you, but I've seen a lot of United players dropped just because they've been blanking and they've had just such a strange run of fixtures in the last couple of weeks. But I've seen Martinez dropped all over the place. I've seen various other United players that have been dropped. So check in on that, because I'm not scared of Liverpool at this point in terms of putting a bunch of goals past United. I don't think that'll happen. If anything, they'll get 1 if they're lucky. And then they have Southampton. So that's one to check out. Just, yeah, United is a shout. But again, you do have Liverpool. If you're still scared of them, maybe not. But I'm like I said, I'm not. Cool.
Good stuff.
All right. Nice. Okay. Let's close her down. Ryan, enjoy the rest of your week.
You too, man.
Have I ever told you that I have a pet peeve for when people say have a good rest of your week or have a good rest of your day?
No, I did not know that.
It's kind of a weird thing about me, but like,
why is that?
As an English teacher, when you say have a good, whatever comes after that should be like a thing that is quantifiable, right? So like have a good evening, have a good snack, have a good vacation.
Would you rather they say have a good time in the next 9 hours?
Sure. Yeah, that's great. I'll take it. No, just enjoy the rest of your week is just fine. Enjoy the rest of your day.
It's the have. Yeah.
Have a good. Because how do you have a rest of your day? It's not a thing.
Let alone a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely.
That's fair. I didn't think about it that way. Now, yeah, that's added to my pet peeves.
All right, sweet, love it. With that very deep thought, we will leave you, dear listeners, for this week. If you made it this far, we love you. Community, you're the best. If you have any questions heading into this game week, tag us on Twitter. Start a conversation. We'll see if we can get it out to as many eyes as we possibly can. Get some thoughts on your conundrums and your start-sit questions and whatnot. So yeah, hit us up. Happy to at least try to amplify anything we can with our modest Twitter followings that are not even that impressive. But hey, we'll do everything we can for you. Community, you're the best. This has been KPC. We'll talk to everyone soon. Cheers.